Trainer Joe, is it okay, and this title's a bit controversial, but there's some good stuff to unpack here. Is it okay to be a little fat? Because a lot of us are a little fat. If not a lot fat, but we're focusing on a little fat.
Little fat. Everybody wants to get rid of that little belly they got, it seems like. When I was at UK running track, we had a meeting. The men and the women's teams were both in there, and Coach Weber, at the time was the coach, he had a 5-pound weight in his hand, which was only about this big, but just happens to be the same as this weighs. Now, it was much smaller than this, but he said, everybody pass this around, and everybody's passing around this 5-pound weight, and we're runners. We're running a mile, 2 miles, about 5 miles, depending on the race. He said, how do you think this is affecting you to have an extra 5 pounds? I remember one of the guys on my team, cross country, he loved honey buns, and he was always a little heavier than he wanted to be. And it's like, well, what's the reason you don't want to have an extra 5 pounds on your body? Because if you're on the track team for college, you probably are taking it pretty seriously.
Well, can we go, what is a little fat? So obviously a track team, a college athlete track team, 5 pound, but like
you're not going to see any fat on their body.
20, can we say anywhere?
You're not going to look at their body and think there's some fat.
Right. What is the little fat? 10 pounds overweight to 25 pounds overweight?
I don't know that it's going to be the weight as much as we just watched the U.S. Open tennis. And these guys would take their shirts off after the match. Djokovic, these guys, and Alcaraz. And you didn't look at them and think, oh, they could lose 5 pounds. You could look at them and say, they don't need to lose an ounce. Zero. And that's probably the way it should be for them. There was one guy, Fritz, who they said, he's gotten much fitter. And he didn't have the ripped stomach. He was still, you didn't think it, but he had a little cushy, and he didn't win.
Oh, how dare you.
Remember Serena, and we talked about her. Yeah. In my opinion, had she figured out a way to lose 20 pounds, she would have probably won that one elusive championship. So it depends what you're trying to do. Remember when you were modeling? And you thought you were a specimen at the time, and they told you...
You really have to bring this up?
They told you to lose some weight?
Yeah.
It depends what you're trying to do.
It depends. It was a wake-up call for me when the instructor said, all right, Paul, you need to shed a little bit in this region. I was like, the first time I've heard this. But anyway, okay, so obviously then we hear an athlete that's trying to be a star athlete. Yeah, 5 pounds makes a difference. But what about the average person that is like, I got a little bit.
Yeah.
Is it a big deal, though? Is it really a big deal?
What would make it a big deal? What would make a little fat a big deal? I don't think it's that big a deal in most cases. Why would it be? And I know some people say, I'm going to go get my body fat percentage checked. And I'm always kind of like, they want to go and get this thing and have it checked. I'm like, why do you want to do that? Can't you look at your body and say, I'm too fat? Or I'm not.
But you just said you don't think it's typically a big deal for a little fat.
Right.
Did I hear that correctly?
We all have fat on our bodies.
Trainer Joe just said it's not, because normally you do make a little bit of a bigger deal. Say there is a deeper root here that we need to address.
Right.
Are you saying that a little fat's not that big of a deal?
I am saying that. It's not that big of a deal in most cases. Because I've worked with people that had 50 pounds to lose, and they lost it. And then they'll say, I still got a little fat around my belly. And I'm like, bro, so? So what? You're at a healthy weight range now. So it does become at some point a little bit more about vanity. Obsessive than it is healthy. But then there's Jane Seymour, actress, medicine woman. She had type 2 diabetes in her family. I read about it because I thought it was interesting. And she went to her doctor because she was borderline pre-diabetic, which a lot of people, who cares? She said, I cared because it ran in my family. The doctor said, lose at least 6 pounds and you'll probably get past that. She did. She got into a range she was happy with. 6 pounds. So sometimes I think what we're really getting to, a little ahead of myself here, I think, with the order I thought we would talk about things, but people just want to eat. And they want to find a way to eat what they want to eat. And you're trying to relate that to, well, how much fat do I have on my body? And it so often all these things come down to people just want to eat what they want to eat, and they want to look for a way around that. So they're like, this much fat's okay because I want to eat what I want to eat. If we really deal with the issue that they have with food, the fat's going to take care of itself.
Well, I know we may be jumping around a little bit. Again, I guess I'm a little surprised to hear you say it's not that big a deal for most cases where someone might have a little fat. I guess where I might just push back a little bit is a lot of people would call 40 pounds a little fat.
Right. That's called obesity. In most people, that's obesity. You get 40 pounds overweight, you're obese.
Wouldn't you agree that most people would say, oh, yeah, 40 to 50 pounds, maybe a little.
Right.
They would just identify it as a little, if anything.
That's what they want.
If anything.
Right, that's what they want.
Most people would say, oh, you're not fat if you're 50 pounds over the
right.
BMI
index. What is it that they call kids that are heavy? They call them stocky or something else. And it's like, no, you're fat. You're obese. It's unhealthy. It's bad. It's not good. So, yeah, that's where I think if we can get this distinction. I worked with a guy, just call him Sam. I didn't ask him if I could talk about him. When he came to me, he needed to lose about 90 pounds. And we were working out together. And I said, well, let's see you hang on the chin-up bar, but don't hurt yourself. Because he was 45 years old. Mm-hmm. And he's hanging there. And I'm like, you're going to pull your arms off, bro.
His arms literally ripped off.
Literally, his arms ripped off, and I had to rush him to the hospital. I was waiting for that to happen. So he's hanging there, and he hangs there, and he was a football player in high school, and he'd hit harder than anybody. So he was kind of, not prideful, literally.
Had some muscle.
He had a little muscle, not a lot. Not a lot, just naturally kind of thick. But he was hanging around. I'm like, okay, bro, don't hurt yourself. Because I'm waiting for him to have a heart attack. This guy's 90. Like, he's almost morbidly obese.
Wow, okay.
So he gets down, and we start working together, and he loses 90 pounds.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
And by the time we were done, of course, he couldn't do a chin-up when we started. He was going to rip his arm. He could do 3 sets of 10 chin-ups.
Wow.
But how do you think he looked if he took his shirt off?
Probably had some loose skin.
He had some loose skin and a little fat. But the way the transformation was awesome, he was at a healthy weight, borderline. He probably still a little borderline. And he was strong. So my challenge to a lot of people that are wondering, do I have too much fat on my body, would be asked, how many chin-ups can you do? Because they probably can do 0. And the reason for that is not because they're 50. It's because they're weak or they're fat. So more what I would encourage you to focus on is, how many chin-ups can you do? Because it's probably 0, because you've not taken your body seriously in what you ought to be doing for it. So I think that's really the bigger issue than the other, but they're both.
It just made me think of a new Instagram account that I follow. You may have seen me post. It's this ripped guy, and it's just, he always starts out, he's like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today. I've had a long week. And then he literally starts screaming, get over it!
So have we helped people see the difference between obesity and you got a little fat on it? People want abs, right? Oh, I just want abs. It's like, well, how realistic is that? What are you trying to do, and why are you trying to do it? And does food have your number? That to me, that's the bigger thing. If you're holding food lightly, you might still have a little fat on your body, a little belly, a little pooch. But if you have 30 pounds to lose, that's 6 of these.
6 of those.
And yes, we should have fat on our body. We all have it. Some. But when you look in the mirror, you can tell. Really, you can tell. You got too much. Forget everybody else's standards, what they are. Look at yourself. Mm-hmm. Let's just get honest. And the reason you're struggling is not because of a body type. It's because you want to eat what you want to eat. And you don't want restrictions. And if you'll embrace, you know what? I use food. I abuse food. I want it. I want to excuse 30 pounds, 50 pounds. And that's what we do.
So Trainer Joe is here saying, if you've maybe lost a decent amount of weight and you are still 5 to 10 pounds a little heavy, like a little here.
And it's all right in your belly. Do you really need to attack that with a vengeance?
You're saying...
You've had 3 kids.
Mm-hmm, maybe go a little easier on yourself.
What the heck are you trying to do? What are you trying to do?
But don't go easy on yourself if you got, 5 of these.
Yeah, and if you can't say no to dessert, why not? Even if you're healthy, you should be able to say no to dessert when you need to, for whatever reason. Can you fast for 2 days? You should be able to fast for 2 days. Everybody should fast for 2 days at least once and see how much in bondage you are to every meal you eat. Every dessert you can't just go through a day and chill out without eating everything you decide you deserve to eat, you're entitled to eat. That's really where I want people to get to. Because once you get to some freedom in the way you eat, your body's going to be okay. But we always say, no, I got allergic, I got reactions, I got this issue, that issue. No, your issue is you eat what you want to eat. And you hold it too tightly, you use and abuse food, and we want to disguise it as some horrible health issue we have. I'm not saying people don't have those, but I'm saying the problem is the problem.
Or so what about the lady who's had 2 kids and she's got 5 to 10 pounds here, that mostly here, and she's saying, Trainer Joe, I do really still want to lose the 5 to 10 pounds.
Go ahead.
Can you help me?
Yeah.
You can still help that person, and you say,
but I'm not going to try to make you feel bad if you don't want to do that.
Uh-huh.
But plenty of people want to do that. I want to be a little fitter than I need to be. Mm-hmm. I represent, what I do. And I want to live longer, and I feel like I'm going to be able to do and perform better if I stay on the top 10%, top 5%, particularly for my age range. I want to feel good and look good when I'm 70. And that means I'm not going to have 20 pounds extra in my belly. I might have a little saggy belly when I'm 70, a little, and I'm like, unless I take steroids or testosterone treatment and really dig into it, that's going to be there. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Shouldn't I be?
All right.
Should I have a standard to be ripped when I'm 70 or healthy when I'm 70?
Healthy.
And I know that sounds a little bit unlike some of the things we talk about, but it's not.
Even healthy is lean an okay word?
Lean. I do think you should be lean. It doesn't mean you don't have a little pudge. That is very difficult, particularly when recently I've gone through a foot injury, so I suddenly couldn't do things that required a foot. Then, where I had a hernia years ago, I was doing some ab things, and I'm like, oh, I'm really sore right there. And I needed to take off 5 or 6 days. And it's like, some people have these ongoing issues that make it really hard. Because what I want, now that I've had a month of not being able to do my normal routine, is how am I going to stay fit? And I'm going to find it, and I'm going to do it. Now, I think I'm coming out of it, and I'm going to do my normal thing. But if not, I got to come up with something I can do to maintain a fitness level. And I think everybody should have that mindset. You got to do what you got to do to maintain
I agree.
a relatively fit body forever.
I agree. Look for excuses to continue to go forward.
You got to.
Rather than excuses to, I have to just stop working out for 2 months.
I think there's something wrong if you don't do that. There's something wrong in the way you think, which is normal.
Yeah.
And we have a culture that promotes the wrong thinking as far as taking care of our bodies.
Yeah. How's the foot?
It's slowly getting better.
We think in a few weeks and you'll be jogging?
You just kind of got to go with it gradually with what happens. I'm going to do my part, do my exercises, do my therapies, and get on with it.
All right. Well, if we see you putting on more than about that 5 to 7 pounds.
I've got more empathy for you folks that go through struggles, but let's get it figured out together.
All right, guys. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on being a little fat? Do you agree? Are you more of the mindset of no, not if it's a little overweight, I want to lose it all? Are you even more savage than Trainer Joe on this, or do you agree? Do you think he handled it well? Curious to hear your thoughts. Until our next video, everybody. Good seeing you all. Trainer Joe, train your brain
and transform your body.